We've talked today a lot about the process of campaigns in terms of ideas and campaigns in terms of dollars. And those are certainly ways that we keep score. But we're building those connections that we've talked about already this morning, and we're all a very, very vital part of that. I always remind myself, and I hope you keep in mind, that everything we ask people to do is purely optional. No one has to make a gift. No one has to come to a meeting. No one needs to troop out to see the president. These are all optional things in their lives. So everything that we ask people to do is optional. If it's not fun, if it's not engaging, if it's not interesting, if it doesn't feel good, if it becomes a hassle, it's really easy not to do it the next time. In fact, it probably is where most people end up. It's only because we make it pleasant, we make people feel appreciated, we help them see the importance of it, that people continue to do it. And I don't care whether you're writing database queries, or you're doing data entry, or you're taking registration for an event, or you're out there on the front line making solicitations. It all plays a role in what we're doing here. And I want to thank you for the work that you're doing. Where are we on the campaign? Where are we on goals? We've just received the second revision of goals back in the schools and colleges. Chris and Robin and others have been adding those up and doing some analysis. We have more than $150 million targeted for chairs, professorships, endowed faculty positions. We have targeted more than $260 million for student aid in the form of scholarships and fellowships and study abroad and other forms of student support. We have more than $160 million targeted for research and program endowments. We've targeted $160 million for facilities and improvements. And that's a number that we're still working on. There'll probably be a few more projects added. Altogether, we stand at about $1.3 billion, $1.3 billion in defined objectives from the bottom up, and we still have some rounding out and filling in to do. We'll be planning and testing, continue to focus on about $1.5 billion as a campaign number that we'll be taking to our best and dearest friends and testing and getting feedback and begin soliciting. But as you heard here this morning, there are some other objectives, and I don't want to lose sight of those other objectives. Increasing alumni participation as donors, increasing the importance of philanthropy for our students and for our culture, building that Spartan network. The Alumni Association, you'll hear Scott and other members of the association talking about your network for life. And we believe that so strongly, we sent our best networker out to work for LinkedIn. So we'll use all the tools that we can to build that network. But when you think about the value of that human capital, of Spartans connecting anywhere in the world and knowing that they can make things happen, it's a tremendously powerful tool. It's what makes Harvard, Harvard. It's what makes Michigan State, Michigan State. We're going to build on the branding. We're going to build on the quality. Now, this isn't just something that University Relations cooked up in terms of Spartan Will to have a nice tagline. It was 3 years of work of really capturing the essence of this place and figuring out the best way to communicate it in a way that would engage people and involve people, and they know what it meant. And if you want to have some fun right now, talk to folks that have seen a poster in an airport or a billboard not in East Lansing, but in Chicago or Atlanta or LA. And they say, my institution's a national institution. My institution's an international institution. And the pride that that's building. And we want to continue to leverage that. So when they think Spartans, they don't think about that other school in Michigan, in that state of Michigan. They think about the place that, as the president mentioned, in the 19th century really defined public higher education. And the 20th century took it to the World War II vets and took it around the world. And in the 21st century is redefining what it means to solve the toughest problems. So part of the campaign is a reputation campaign. They always are. It's a very important part of what they do, and we're all part of that process. I thought of thought of the tagline from the TV show Survivor, as the President Provost were talking. Some version of outwork, outlast, outwit. I think that's pretty good theme for us as well. So those are some of the outcomes that we expect to see beyond the dollars and cents. What will happen next? Well, right now, emphasis on finishing the priorities and capturing the case. We've asked Ben Swaley to help us do a rewrite, if you will, of the basic case and vision statement, and we'll be working on that over the next few weeks. We are in the process of completing the infrastructure, if you will. Most of you know all the work that's gone on in Advanced Web and iModules and improved reporting and Cognos. We don't need to go through that long list, but it's a tremendous bit of work that's being done. And I don't know about you, but you're starting to see the difference when you can pull up the database on a device like this today, and you can look up a record on the road without jumping through 15 VPN connections and 10 logins, and simply pull up a record and get what you need. Responsiveness in the last 60, 90 days have changed tremendously as we've been able to upgrade versions and work with our friends at AIS and work with SunGuard to tune servers and all these things. Those things are starting to pay off and starting to change the way we work, and more of that is coming. If you're on the second floor, if you're above certain places on the second floor in Spartan Way, we're breaking concrete and walls and drilling, and we're making a new home for the Green Line on the other side of the hallway. And when that space is done, we set off a whole series of moves and refurbishments to make room for more people in Spartan Way. It doesn't affect those of you outside the building, except that you will start to have to look for people in different places, and we'll keep you posted. But those moves start shortly after the first of the calendar year, and that ripple will go on for a number of months as we renovate spaces and then move people in. But that space right now on the other side of the hall on the second floor is a critical piece of that. We've really rebuilt the research team, and kudos to those that are still with us and have stayed and have helped us rethink this and redesign it. We welcome the new members to that team as we have added new talent, new experience, and really a wide array of backgrounds, and we all look forward to the results of that. Good work being done as we integrate with analytics, with the database, and more coming there. We're rethinking publications and what things will come out to what groups and in what form. And that's not yet a final plan, but that planning is in process as we begin to think about campaign communications and who needs to hear what, when, and in what format. What will be electronic, what will be hard copy, how might developments change, how might the alumni magazine evolve, etc. It's all, you already seen some of that evolution. And then engaging volunteers. And that is a very important part of what we've done, what we're doing. Before we're done, we will have someplace in the neighborhood of 400 to 600 volunteers involved in college committees, in program advisory groups, in regional development councils, and in a President's Development Council. And the colleges and others have been putting names into the hopper, and we now have those names in a way that we can all see them and we know where the coordination needs to occur. But that is happening in earnest, and we're moving ahead on that front. And there's a tremendous amount of leverage. We all know there's a lot of work to do with volunteers, but the right volunteers, properly motivated, properly directed, will leverage tremendously the work that we're doing. And so we'll make some mistakes. We'll get some of the wrong kinds, but we'll get a lot of the right kinds. And when we do, you'll not only see a difference in fundraising, you'll see a difference in our ability to reach people and to figure out strategies and to know the right thing to ask for and the right person to do the asking. And that's the other thing that has to continue to increase, and that is the asking. Being more deliberate, being more focused, asking for enough, There are no silver bullets here. Simply having enough requests on the table and tenaciously following them up in directed ways. An important part of our culture that has to become even stronger. I hope after you've heard the President this morning and the Provost, you realize how important our work is to the future of the university. What they probably didn't say as directly, but you should take away from this, is without the work that we do, we won't carve out the financial flexibility to keep innovating. And if tuition can't go up or can only go up so much, and the state support doesn't grow, and the federal support doesn't grow, the only way to change, to get better, to innovate, is to kill something else off. And that makes for a very tough environment. If we can add to, provide flexibility, provide funds for innovation. You heard the President talk about finding venture capital. It's the way we need to think about private sector. Money that helps the institution continue to adapt, to change, to shift, to invest, and to grow. And that's what we're all about, is helping to pull that together. I like to think of the work we do much like tending an orchard. Yes, we're here to pick apples, and we're here to get them by the bushels, billions and billions of bushels. But it's more than just picking the apples. If you don't prune it, if you don't plant, if you don't tend it, if you don't pull the weeds, if you don't do all of those things, it doesn't work. And we're growing for the long run, not just for what we raise this year, not for just what we raise next year, but for decades and for centuries, because of the work we do today and everything we do in all parts of this advancement process. And we all have roles to play in making that happen. It's just not the people shaking the trees. It's just not the people up on the ladder plucking the apples. It's all of us that make it work. And I'm so proud to have this kind of a team to do that process, to tend the orchard. Each and every one of you plays a role, and hence the purpose of the paperweight. We know you have plenty of paper and you have plenty of things to hold it down, but the purpose of this paperweight, are we going to raise $1.5 billion for this institution and maybe more? And the answer is yes, we will. Together, Spartans will. Thanks for everything you do.